need some kind of support for the breathing practice. I use blankets here at the yoga school, but a towel would be okay as long as it's a firm support. So you take a blanket like this and open it up to about this size. I'd say this is about 2 feet by 3 feet, a rectangle. And then you fold it lengthwise in half. And then there's always two ends, right? One is firm, and one is rather open, like this. And you always want to sit against the firm end. So we'll lay the blanket down. If Sally would sit down here, please, and lie back onto the support. And it's also possible, if you have a second blanket available, to put something under the back of the head. So if you're just going to please put a second back in the head, put this in place. And if you have a bolster, we'll show this. Most people don't really have bolsters available, but just in case you do or you want to get one, bend your knees, please. This helps to release the femurs and soften the groins, which is a great benefit for breathing. Now, the first thing that you want to be aware of when you lie down in this way is that you want to lie down in a fairly even position. That you can see what she's doing here. The heels are resting evenly on the floor. The buttocks are resting evenly on this floor. The shoulder blades are resting evenly on the support. Her arms are a little bit away from the sides of her torso. And even the detail of resting the backs of the hands on the same knuckle is very important. The head is in a neutral position, so the ears are equidistant from the shoulders and the eyes from the floor. The idea behind lying in a neutral position is that the brain, it's easier to quiet the brain when the body is neutral. As you close your eyes, and she'll just run through the whole thing once again with the heels, the buttocks, the shoulder blades, the backs of the hands, the head. And then after that, you want to imagine, if you can, that the eyes are dropping into the backs of the sockets. The eyes are softening and the tongue relaxes on the floor of the mouth. And the last thing to do is imagine the brain, if you can, inside the skull case, releasing onto the back of the head. Essentially, you want to feel all of your weight or your mass dropping down onto the floor. So the back of your body gets very heavy, the front of your body gets very light. Once that's accomplished, then you turn your attention to your breath. Now, the first thing is to not do anything at all. I mean, there's nothing really that you need to fix or change or make better or anything like that. It's just a matter of watching the breath for a bit. And what you'll discover, usually what you'll discover, is that there's this very interesting phenomenon. When you watch your breathing automatically begins to slow down. This is a very important aspect of the practice, is a slower breathing, slower than normal breathing. So you watch that happening. And at some point in that process, then you can start to step in and do something more active and more direct to the breath, which is to start to slow the exhalations down a little bit more than normal. So what you do for a while is you count the length of your exhalation. And say, for example, it comes out to be a 5 count. You want to see if you can extend it out to 6 or 7 or 8. So the inhalation comes to you. You don't really have to pull on the breath. You just let the breath in. But the exhalation you hold on to a little bit longer than normal and stretch it out a bit. And once you start to do that, what happens then typically is that you begin to notice at the end of each exhalation there's a little pause. And at first you just want to recognize it happening, but after a while you want to linger in that pause a little bit longer than normal. So it goes like this. The inhalation comes to you, you receive it, you slowly exhale, and you come to the pause and you wait in that pause. It's not like you're holding the breath or gripping anything. You're just resting the breath. You're just waiting for the inhalation to come back. And in that pause, it's a very significant moment when the brain can really let go when the breath has taken its rest. And you want to do this, first of all, you want to do this very regularly. You want to make sure that you do this 5-6 times a week. And you want to do it initially anyway for maybe 10-15 minutes at a time. Probably the best time to do it is during the morning when you're still fresh. from your night's sleep. But if that's not possible, then really any time that you can manage it is fine, as long as you're not too tired and just automatically fall asleep. So the idea then is to balance yourself, stay very still, because also movement is a disturbance. Watch the breath. Let the inhalation come to you. Slow exhalation. Pause. Wait for the breath to come back. And maybe 10 to 15 minutes there at a time to begin. At the end of the practice, you can take an exhalation and you can roll very gently over the side. I want you to show how to do that. Roll toward the camera. And you want to rest on your side a little bit. And then when you're ready to come up, be sure you do this. You push your hands against the floor. You lift your torso first and your head comes last. So head comes up after the torso. And that's a breathing practice that anybody can do anytime, and it's highly recommended. Regular practice.